I found the photo in a drawer I had opened 100 times before. After that, our family conversations began to feel rehearsed. I was helping my mother clear out a cabinet she had long put off. The drawer resisted when I pulled it, as if it had learned to stay closed. Inside were envelopes with faded stamps, old receipts folded into squares, keys that no longer fit any lock in the apartment. The photo was folded once and tucked between papers that had yellowed at the edges. It showed my mother much younger, standing beside a man I did not recognize. They stood close, not touching, but not careful about distance either. The kind of closeness that suggests familiarity without explanation. I placed the photo on the table and continued sorting, as if delaying the moment could soften it. The room was quiet except for the low hum of the refrigerator. My mother's movement slowed when she noticed what I had found. She picked up the photo and looked at it longer than necessary. Not with surprise, but with a practiced stillness that felt rehearsed. Then she folded it back into the drawer without comment, pressing the edge flat with her thumb, as if the crease needed discipline. I asked who the man was. She said it was someone from long ago. The answer was accurate and insufficient at the same time. We went back to sorting. I handed her stacks of paper. She aligned them into folders, careful about the corners. The ordinary rhythm of the task continued, but the room felt newly arranged around the image I had seen. I noticed how my questions drifted towards safer topics. I noticed how her answers shortened into functional shapes. The silence that settled between us felt structured, rather than accidental. It had edges now. As the afternoon went on, I became aware of how often I had opened that drawer before, without noticing what it contained. The photo had been there through previous visits, through holidays and ordinary afternoons, through conversations that never approached whatever it represented. It had waited without urgency. The discovery felt less like uncovering something hidden and more like realizing what had been deliberately placed out of reach. I found myself watching her hands as she worked, the careful ways she avoided touching the drawer again, the slight pause before she slid it closed. These were small movements, but they carried a clarity that words did not. Later that evening, when the cabinet stood half-emptied and the apartment dimmed into evening light, I asked again. This time, my mother said the man had been part of her life before she met my father. The sentence arrived in a neutral tone, as if it were a line she had practiced privately. I waited for more. She returned to arranging papers, aligning the edges with unnecessary precision. The room filled with the soft sound of cardboard shifting against cardboard. I understood then that the explanation was complete, as far as she was concerned. The photo had not opened a conversation. It had marked a boundary I had not known existed. Whatever the fuller story was, it was not meant to enter our shared narrative. In the weeks that followed, I noticed how family stories changed texture. Ordinary memories sounded edited. Details felt selectively placed, as if the past were being curated rather than recalled. Nothing concrete shifted. No further revelations came. But the absence of explanation became its own presence. It occupied space whenever the past was mentioned. I found myself listening for what was being avoided, rather than for what was being said. Conversations remained calm and functional, yet they now felt composed around an unspoken center. I did not raise the subject again. I learned where not to direct my attention. The photo stayed in the drawer. The cabinet closed. The apartment returned to its usual order. But the sense of arrangement lingered in the way we moved around each other. We continued speaking the way we always had, carefully. The difference was that the silence now had a shape. I could see where it lived, and I learned how to step around it. If this story felt familiar, there are more like it here.